Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today's story is one that none of us ever expected. It is a moment heavy with heartbreak, wrapped in courage and lifted by the kind of friendship that reminds us what truly matters in this life. When Kelly&Ripa finally found the strength to speak out about David Muir's shocking cancer news, her tearful confession left millions speechless. But behind those tears lies a story of resilience, faith, and the unbreakable bond between two people who have touched countless lives. Stay with me until the very end, because the final chapter of this story will leave you not only stunned, but inspired in ways you never imagined. For decades, Kelly&Ripa and David Muir have shared a friendship that goes beyond the cameras and the lights. We've seen them laugh together, support one another through career highs and lows, and share a connection that feels almost like family. Their bond is built on trust, humor, and a mutual respect that so many of us crave in our own lives. But, as we often learn, even the strongest friendships are tested in the face of heartbreaking news. Kelly herself once said that David was like a brother to her, a safe place in the chaos of fame. And it was exactly this deep connection that made the revelation of his cancer diagnosis all the more devastating. But here's the question that lingers. How do you find the words to speak when someone you love is fighting a battle so terrifying? Kelly's answer to that question will bring chills. It began quietly, the way these life-altering moments often do. Rumors had started swirling behind the scenes of ABC News that something wasn't right. And then the truth surfaced. David Muir, the face millions rely on nightly to deliver truth to the world, was suddenly living a truth of his own that he never asked for. Cancer. Imagine the weight of that news. For a man whose career is built on clarity, strength, and unwavering calm, this was a moment of unimaginable vulnerability. Kelly&Ripa was one of the first people he confided in, and when he did, she broke down. Her tears weren't just for him, but for the countless people who have faced this same terrifying diagnosis. And yet what she said in response would echo far beyond their circle of friends. But before we get to her tearful confession, there's something about David's response to this news that may surprise you. While many of us would crumble under the weight of a cancer diagnosis, David Muir stood tall. Behind the cameras, he was struggling. But on air, he continued to deliver the news with dignity and strength, never once allowing the audience to sense his personal battle. Kelly later admitted that this quiet strength inspired her. She said, "David reminded me that we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we choose to respond." Think about that for a moment. How many of us, when life hits with the unexpected, feel paralyzed, unable to move forward? David showed another way, a reminder that even in our darkest hours, we can still shine light for others. But Kelly knew the world couldn't stay in the dark forever, and what she revealed next shocked fans around the globe. When Kelly&Ripa finally chose to speak publicly, her voice cracked, her eyes filled with tears. In her confession, she admitted that she had spent nights unable to sleep, consumed with fear. Not just of losing her friend, but of what it would mean to live in a world without his steady presence. She revealed how David, despite his condition, often comforted her. And then came the line that broke hearts everywhere. "I realized I wasn't strong enough to protect him from this, and that broke me." Those words, so raw, so honest, reminded us that even the strongest people we see on screen are human, fragile, and vulnerable. Kelly's confession became a mirror for so many of us who have stood by a loved one in crisis. But what happened after that confession is something no one could have predicted. Because instead of despair, Kelly chose a different path. Kelly made a decision. She would not let her tears be the end of the story. Instead, she began to advocate for hope, for awareness, for action. She spoke openly about the importance of early detection, regular checkups, and the need for support systems when life takes a turn. She started using her platform not just to share her own pain, but to inspire others to take control of their health journeys. And David, watching his dear friend transform pain into purpose, found himself lifted by her courage. The two of them, together, began sending a message far greater than either could send alone. Cancer does not get the final word. But here's where the story takes yet another turn, and it's a twist that stunned even those closest to them. For months, fans speculated about the true extent of David's condition. Was he getting better? Was he worsening? Kelly finally revealed something deeply personal, something David had wanted to keep private. Through tears, she admitted that his journey had forced her to confront her own fears about mortality, aging, and legacy. She said, "David's fight became my mirror. I realized I hadn't been truly living." This confession sent shockwaves across her fan base. People began to ask themselves, am I really living the life I want, or am I just existing? But even in this moment of soul-searching, Kelly dropped yet another revelation, one that left even her harshest critics silent. Kelly shared that out of this darkness came something she never expected: gratitude. Gratitude for every laugh, every conversation, every shared moment with David. She reminded us that cancer, while cruel, can also sharpen our vision for what truly matters. She told fans, "David and I now say, 'I love you' more often. We hug longer, we forgive faster." Her words hit hard, especially for those who have let small grudges, pride, or busyness steal precious time from relationships that matter most. But just as it seemed the story was settling into acceptance, Kelly revealed a final twist, a cliffhanger so powerful that it left her audience in tears. Kelly and David made a promise to one another, a pact sealed not in fear, but in hope. They promised that no matter what the outcome of his battle, they would continue using their voices to spread light in the world. David promised to keep fighting not only for himself, but for every person watching at home who needed courage. And Kelly promised to never again hide her emotions, but to share them openly so that others could find strength in her honesty. This promise transformed everything. What began as devastating news became a mission of inspiration. And friends, if you're watching this right now, perhaps the true takeaway is this: none of us know what tomorrow holds, but we do know that love, friendship, and courage can carry us through anything. As Kelly Ripa spoke through her tears, she wasn't just talking about David Muir's cancer battle. She was talking to all of us, reminding us to live fully, to cherish deeply, and to never take a single day for granted. This is not just their story. It is a story about all of us, about the fragility of life and the incredible strength we carry when we face it together. So if you've been touched by Kelly and David's journey, take a moment today to call someone you love. Say the words you've been putting off. Forgive the hurt that's been holding you back. And above all, remember, even in the darkest moments, there is always light. Stay with us, because this story isn't over. In fact, what comes next for Kelly and David might just be the most inspiring chapter yet. If you've been moved by this story, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss future updates on Mark Consuelos and other important stories. And in the comments below, share your messages of love and encouragement for Mark and Kelly.